Hello ladies and gents, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at yet another PlayStation 4 which has been sent, which has originally been to a CEX store in the UK. For those of you that don't know what CEX is or what they do, CEX is the Computer and Entertainment Exchange. It's a second-hand shop in the UK. They've got stores nationwide and they're essentially like GameStop but in the UK. They buy and sell consoles and other electronic devices, games, things like that, phones and all of that sort of stuff. Pretty much anything tech related. I actually bought my wireless microphones from CEX and I've got to go back on the warranty because the battery has failed and month after I bought them. Piece of shit. But never mind. I'm probably just going to replace the battery, not send them back because I can't be bothered to deal with warranties. But yeah, basically CEX offer repair services as well as buying and selling, and I'm going to be honest, I can't repair nothing. No offence to CEX, no offence to anyone that works there, it's probably store policy. But anything that doesn't involve unscrewing a couple of screws and changing a hard drive, or replacing a power supply, or just cleaning off a little bit of dust, they don't do it. And yet they offer advanced repairs on their website. They also offer advanced repairs in the stores, and that's really annoying because the customer is under the presumption that the console is going to get repaired, or at least get worked on and attempt to repair it. And in reality it's not. They take one look at it, they see what the fault is, and they're like, nope, we're not touching that, we can't do it, sorry, it's unrepairable. And yeah, and half the time it is repairable. This one might be a little bit difficult. This one might be a little bit different to the ones I've done in the past on CEX. This one might be unfixable. It's a blue light of death and they are fairly hard to diagnose. That is granted, they are fairly hard to diagnose. But the thing that annoys me with a place like CEX is they offer these advanced level repair services and they don't do it. And they won't outsource it to a third party, like for example me. I'm not saying me in general, but let's say someone like me, they won't outsource it to someone who is capable of offering advanced repair services because they just don't trust anyone. Well, that's the only presumption that I can make. But they don't outsource it to anyone, but yet they offer the repair services on the website, and they say that will repair the device within up to so many days or whatever. Never use their services myself, but I do get loads of these consoles, and you guys seem to enjoy them, which is why I'm making this video again now. Otherwise, I would just be working on it on my own because I am rather busy. But yeah, this has apparently got a blue light of death, and it's been to CEX, as you can see from the stickers. It says unrepaired on it. This is a packaging that they get sent back in, and I haven't opened this up or anything, so I don't know what to expect. I've had to blur out some of the information because it's got customer name and things like that on it. But the tech centre is JB04026 and it's Bromley. That's where it's come from, the Bromley store. And yeah, we're going to see if we can get it fixed. But if you are new to the channel and you like this type of content, then I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, and while you're there, you may as well give the video an early thumbs up just so I look a bit more popular. And if you want to support me, if you find any entertainment value from these, or if you potentially learn anything from these videos, then I've got a Patreon link in the video description. You can support me over there, or you can head over to Twitch, and if you've got an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to Twitch and become a Twitch Prime subscriber completely free. Doesn't cost you a penny if you've already got Amazon Prime. So if you're already paying for that every month, then you may as well take Jeff Bezos for as much as you can and subscribe on Twitch for free. Give me around about $2.50 every month for everyone that does it, and it really does help out the channel. So with that being said, let's get into this repair. Right we are then. So as you can see, this is still in the packaging that CEX send them in. And as I said, I've had to, cover up a couple of bits of information. So I'll scribble out the barcode so it can't be scanned, the job ID so it can't be tracked back to the customer, and the serial number as well as the customer's name. So I've had to block out all of that information to protect my customers, but basically the consensus with this is that it's got a blue light of death, and like I said, I haven't opened it, so I don't actually know whether it's going to be fixable or not. But I have released a couple of videos on CEX consoles before, CEX consoles that I've had sent in from customers, and just for integrity's sake, whether or not this is fixed, I don't want people thinking that I'm picking on CEX. Let's get one thing clear. I'm not picking on CEX. I'm not trying to say don't send them to them, send them to me. It's just that they make interesting videos and numbers don't lie. The last two videos that I've done have had over 90,000 views each. And yeah, the numbers don't lie and people seem to enjoy these videos. So that's the reason I'm making it. But for integrity's sake, whether or not I manage to fix this, there is going to be a video on it. because I don't want people thinking I'm picking on them, and I don't want people thinking that I'm picking on an individual company or trying to get anyone at that tech centre fired or anything like that. That is not the case. I just like to document these because you guys seem to enjoy them. So yeah, just for integrity's sake, this video will be posted no matter what. So yeah, as you can see there, as soon as you open it up, the sticker gets broken because that's just the way they are. But I haven't touched this at all. It hasn't come out of the packaging. I haven't tried to turn it on. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to fix it, but don't know if that was there before it got sent to CEX or not. But that has been a little bit mangled. That's a bit broken. I think that's been dropped, to be honest. Oh wow, the flex on that. Let's just power it on and we'll see what's going on. See if it's going to give us anything obvious. So I'm going to power it on before I do anything because, like I said, I can see that it's been dropped, and also I want to see what's going on for the sake of the video. No response from the power buttons at all. That's not a blue light of death. Now, this has come from another business, so basically what's happened is it's gone to CEX. CEX have said they can't fix it. The customer's got it back, and then they've taken it to another repair centre, a business customer of mine, Console Repair London, who they are very clear that they don't offer advanced level repairs. They do HDMI ports and the basic repairs, and then anything else gets outsourced to me. I know that they get told in advance that it's going to be sent off, and there's a 2-week wait. So that's a few days for it to get to me, a few days for me to fix it, and then a few days to get back. So yeah, it's been reported as blue light of death, but this isn't blue light of death by the look of it. This looks to me like a no power issue, which is quite interesting. So let's just see what's going on. Okay, so number one, we've got a screw there, what isn't correct. Okay. Interesting start, to say the least. Let's just unscrew a few screws. So I'm going to unscrew these ones because this is going to come apart anyway, I think. I would say 99.9% chance this is going to be a board level issue. I'm glad I've documented that on camera with that damage, because now I can't get the blame, which is great. Take a look this side. So the case is definitely cracked. Whoa, yeah, this has been smashed up a little bit. Maybe CEX did take a look at it and realise it was out of their depth. Maybe. What's happened there? What's happened there? Who has done this? Who's destroyed this board? Come on. Talk to me. Who's done this to you? Who's hurt you? It's okay. It's okay. We're going to fix you. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. We'll fix you up. We'll make you look good again. I still think you're beautiful. No, you're not ugly. Shh. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Make myself look nuts. Look? No, I'm definitely nuts. That's beyond the shadow of a doubt. I'm definitely nuts. Anyway, I'm going to get this apart because this is going to need some TLC. Definitely going to need some TLC. So I'll fast forward through this. I'm going to keep it on camera, but I will fast forward through. I don't know what else to expect with this one. But it looks to me like someone's damaged the ribbon connector maybe. So in a second I am going to try loading a disc up and see if it tries to turn on that way. But I'm going to need to take this board out anyway, so I may as well just do it now. Or rather, I may as well unscrew this lot of screws. Doesn't take too long. Right, okay, so let's just plug the hard drive back in a second. Now I've got the screws from under there. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to try offering up a disk to this. And the reason is because if that power ribbon is damaged, then I'm going to say that could be causing it to not turn on. So I'm just going to offer up a disk and just see what happens. Yep. It's been damaged. So now the problem is, how can I see that it's got a blue light of death if the ribbon connector has been damaged? More to the point, who's done it? Because if this had been reported as a blue light of death, now clearly this doesn't happen from being dropped. You don't damage a connector like this from being dropped. Look, that doesn't happen. So if it had a blue light of death because it's been dropped, and then someone's been in it since, how have they damaged that? I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here and say CEX probably done this. I don't know for sure. However, that's a white sticker. Oh dear. That's a white, let me look, check this out. That's a white sticker, right? They use white stickers. That looks like the corner of one of these stickers to me. Alright, let's get detective mode. Detective Coder. Alright, ladies and gents, it is detective time. This is a case of who done it, and we are going to find out. This is the sticker which was over the power connector, or the power button connector. And that seems to line up pretty well with one of CEX's stickers. I wonder who did it. Oh dear. Well, that lines up absolutely perfectly with one of their stickers. And that was covering the power connector. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who done it? Who done it? It'll be interesting to see what some of you guys think on this one. This is still turned on. Let's plug it into a... there. Yeah, let's plug it into there. Let's have a look. Wow. That's not a blue light of death, is it, ladies and gentlemen? That is booting. Alright, I'm going to connect up a controller. That is not syncing a controller in that port. It looks, well, it feels damaged. That port does. It does light up orange. But it's not syncing. How about in that port? Just got to wait for it to turn off and then I can turn it back on. Nope, we've got no USB detecting that one either. Okay, so now I need to find out why it's not connecting through USB. Yeah, it's not syncing at all, but I think those ports are broken. They look broken to me, those ports do. Like they're wiggling around, if you can see that. So those ports could be damaged. Okay, we're going to have to take the board out. Either way, the problem here that I've got is I can't shut it down fully because I've got no power button, so I'm going to have to change that connector. But what have they done to it to cause that damage? I don't understand. because that seems to go in fine to me. Alright, let's just get the board out. Let's just give it a visual inspection before we go any further. But that console is booting, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why it wouldn't turn on with that connector. But I'm going to need to look at that under the scope, I think. But I need to look at those USB ports anyway. So yeah, what I want to do is just turn it on here, and then if I get my multimeter, I can check for voltage. Whoops, I haven't got the heatsink on. Actually, I can check for voltage without it being powered on. So let's do that. It's going to be a bit difficult for you guys to see because this multimeter is too dull. Okay, we've got 3.3 volts. So I've just shorted that out, and it's turning on. So basically, when the power button is pressed, it pulls the 3.3 volt line down low, and that's what tells the console to turn on. So basically, all it's doing is there's one side of the power button connected to ground, and the other side is connected to the 3.3 volt line. And when the power button is pressed, it completes a contact, shorts out the connection to ground, and that tells it to turn on. And basically, that's what I've just done by replicating the power button. Or rather replicating a power button press by just basically taking the two pins, taking ground and the 3.3 volt power line for the power button, and just shorting them out together by touching the leads together, and that is turning the console on. So there's nothing physically wrong with the board in terms of the connector. So the issue is, or rather not in terms of the connector, in terms of the power button circuit. So the issue is either going to be down to this part here, which is the actual physical power button, or it's going to be down to this connector, or it could be the ribbon, which it's not going to be the ribbon, let's face it. Unless they've plugged that in backwards, I don't actually know. Have they plugged it in backwards? See, I don't know which way it's meant to go, so let's just flip that lead round, or rather ribbon. Let's plug it in there. Shut up, multimeter. Let's plug that back in. They plugged it in fucking backwards. Are they stupid? Someone plugged it in backwards. Really? Come on, dude. Now, obviously, someone's been messing with you because the Wi-Fi antenna is broken. We've got to fix the Wi-Fi antenna, but the main issue here is the fact that we've got no controller sync. So this is the problem when they're incorrectly diagnosed. They need to be properly diagnosed so that I can efficiently do my job. And this is the problem, you see, because now I've got to sit here and actually figure it out. So it's basically like someone just going, "Hey, here's a console. It's broke. Fix it." Exactly. Yeah. You wouldn't really want that, would you? So the problem I've got is I don't know whether the controller sync is going to be down to the USB ports, the safe bridge, or the fact that the Wi-Fi antenna has been damaged. So what I need to do is I need to connect it up in safe mode so as I can see if we've got controller sync in safe mode. And the reason for that is because the USB, or rather the controllers, work in two different ways. When the console is turned on and it's in the dashboard, it uses the Wi-Fi/Bluetooth module. And the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module can fail, and it can cause either no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, so for example no controller sync, or both. Or it could be down to the safe bridge. Now, considering this console's had an impact in the past, that is a possibility. But it could also be down to the USB ports. So if the USB ports are not allowing data to pass, then it can't sync the controllers, and therefore we can't get through the dashboard and actually play the console, or we can't sync a controller to be able to get through the dashboard to play the console. That's the problem, because when it's in safe mode it uses USBs. It doesn't use the Bluetooth module until it's actually booted up to the dashboard, because I'm assuming it needs the drivers there to be able to actually run it, which doesn't occur in safe mode. It's in safe mode for a reason. It disables all non-essential functions. So yeah, it's kind of difficult. I need to go into safe mode to be able to figure that out. So I'm going to do that now. So I've put the heatsink on, obviously, to help keep it cool. I'm going to press and hold the power button. Now I've got the thing working. And that should put me into safe mode. Waiting for, yeah, there we go. Second beep. So that's going to put me into safe mode. I do have a white light, which means it is now in safe mode. So now I can hook it back up to the capture card, and we'll see if we get any controller sync on the USB ports. So there we go, we're in safe mode, and I've got the controller plugged in, and we get controller sync. We get controller sync in safe mode. It's restarted. So let's see now if we get any controller sync from the dashboard. Let's see if it's decided that it was just a temporary issue or something. I don't know, it could have been. So we're going to wait for this to boot back up in normal dashboard mode, so normal operating mode. Okay, we're in the dashboard. Let's see. Whoops. It seems a little bit slow. Okay, we're getting orange light. No controller sync. That's going to be the Wi-Fi IC. So it's looking to me like we've got to fix the Wi-Fi IC, and we've also got to fix the Wi-Fi antenna. That's what it looks like the issue is with this. It's definitely not syncing in the same port that I've just synced it on the in safe mode. So it looks to me like we've got a Wi-Fi issue. Now, a Wi-Fi issue can cause an intermittent blue light of death. There is a possibility. So it could have had a blue light of death for that reason. So if CEX had actually looked at it and, you know, actually used the noggin a little bit and thought about what they was doing, yeah, then it probably could have been fixed. But you know, we're going to see what we can do anyway, and hopefully we do manage to fix it. So the Wi-Fi IC is actually a circuit board. I've got one here. This is one that I replaced on that's a PS4 1200 Wi-Fi IC. So this one here I replaced yesterday, late last night, on another console. And if you look on the back, it is a BGA. So it is a board with array. It's not got many balls on it. It's got 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 55 because there's one missing. So it's got 55 balls. It doesn't take long to do. Generally, it's something that can be done with a hot air gun. So let's go under the microscope, and I'll just check which Wi-Fi IC it is, so as I can make sure I get the correct one, because they are model specific. Alright, so it's the J20H091 and it's revision 1.5. Okay, so that's the one we're going to need. Let's just have a quick look at this. Can we fix this? Yes, we can, but it's not going to be incredibly secure. I'm going to need to run a little jumper wire here on the edge just to recreate that ground pad a little bit. But other than that, it should be fine to be able to replace that. That shouldn't be an issue. So let's just make sure I've actually got one of those before I go any further. Yes, indeed I do. So let's just get that in focus here. As you can see, Rev 1.5, J20H091. J20H091. So this donor one here is off a PS4 Pro motherboard, and that's what I'm going to be using. So some of the motherboards match, some of the model numbers match, but you just need to make sure you get the right revision and make sure that you get the right model as well. So we're good to go there. So let's just take this original Wi-Fi IC off. And I'm going to try and do it as safe as I can, because if it's not that, then I'm not going to be leaving a £20 IC on the customer's board. If I can't fix it, I would take it off and put theirs back on. So let's try and remove it as safe as we possibly can, because I don't want to damage it, just in case. Alright, so that was a bit out of focus there. But I'm going to be using hot air at 440 degrees Celsius, and that's going to be at 40% airflow. And all I'm going to do is just heat this up using hot air, and then once it's ready to flow, I'm just going to slide it off the board. So like I said, this is actually just a PCB, and underneath this shield there's a big circuit. Okay, there we go, that's ready. So if we just push downwards, don't need to worry about that Wi-Fi antenna because it's not there. If we just push downwards and slide it off, and that would be why it's not working. We have some torn pads on the IC itself, not on the board. That's rare. That's very rare. But obviously we've already got damage to it, so it's definitely took an impact in this area. And that would be why it's not working. So potentially we could fix this, but I don't think it's going to be worth screwing around with it, to be honest. We may as well just replace it. Maybe I'll fix it for another video at some point. So what we need to do now is we just need to clean this entire area up. So by that I mean we need to replace this solder that's on here at the minute, and we need to mix the lead-free solder that's on here with some leaded solder just to lower that melting temperature a little bit. And I'm just wondering, did that take the corner pad on the board side of it? So we've got some pads just on the edge which are, I mean these pads here, they're not part of the board, they are just pads off the actual chip. So I do need to get rid of those. Just desolder those from the board. And I can't work it out, but I think that's a torn pad on the board side. I believe it is. So I'm going to wick all of this away so I can just have a closer look. Okay, so that's clean on that side. Let's just scrub it a little bit with some IPA. Okay, so that looks okay. We've got one damaged pad here, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a ground point or a no connect. It's hard to tell, because if it's just a ground, I'm not really that fussed. So here's an example board, so it's the same board. Let's just get a diode reading on this pad. It's ground. It's ground. So I'm getting 0.001 volt drop to ground on diode mode, which means it is a ground point. So I am absolutely fine to just completely ignore that ball or that pad. Yeah, I'm more than happy to ignore it. I could run a jumper, but it's pointless. There's plenty more grounds in that area. Alright, so let's just see what we can do about this antenna connector here. Let's clean it up a little bit there. I don't think CEX have done this. I think this is down to the initial impact. So what I'm going to need to do here is I'm going to need to just recreate this little bit of trace here. And the way I'm going to do that is if I just scrape back some of this copper. So this is just a ground point, but it is going to act as an anchor point for the Wi-Fi coax connector. Shut up, multimeter. So I need to just expose some of the copper so as I can allow myself somewhere to solder a jumper wire to, just so as I can anchor it down on both sides. It's not absolutely required for functionality in terms of the connector, but it is required to secure it down. I don't want to use any kind of hot snot or anything like that. I'm not a fan of it. I do not like using hot snot. For those of you that are unfamiliar with that term, that means hot glue. I'm not a fan of using hot glue, especially to secure connectors in. I don't think it's the right way to do it, unless you have no other alternative method. If you have an alternative method and you know it's doable, then go for the alternative method every single time. I'm going to tin all of that, tin that side as well, and then I'm just going to grab some 0.17mm wire. So that is 0.17 of a millimeter. And a lot of people do ask me where I get this stuff from. I do have a video on the channel showing exactly where I get it from. You can't buy this stuff, but it's really, really good for situations like this where you need to create anchor points. And also for HDMI trace repair as well. It's very, very good for it. So I'll get this from Broken Microwaves. My brother-in-law is a scrap dealer. And basically he gets it when he picks things up on scrap. And then I strip the microwave down, or rather he strips the microwave down, and then whenever I go up I just see if he's got any of these motors from the side fan. But I do have a video on the channel showing exactly how I do it and where it comes from inside there. But I just want to create myself a new anchor point, and then just like that we've got a new anchor. So these coax connectors, I'm not 100% sure where to get them from. I have had people send me links to them before, but I stupidly didn't save it. But you can take one off any PS4 board or any board that's got this same size connector on it. So I've got one down here which I'm going to be stealing. This is on a donor board. Okay, so I've got the replacement connector there. I'll just drop that there, and then I'm going to turn it around so as it's matching. And then I can just use some hot air to flow that down. There we go. So that's not going to be the greatest looking thing in the world, but it is secure. But just to double down and make sure it is secure, I'm just going to flow some more solder on here. So we'll flow a bit there. And there as well. And then for the actual signal line, there we go, beautiful. So multimeter in continuity mode, and we're going to make sure that we've got a contact from the middle pin to this pad just here. Yep, and no short to ground, perfect. And perfect. So that's not shorted to ground, it's connected. Everything is Gucci on that. Spray isopropyl alcohol. And I'll put some conformal coating on it once I'm finished with the job. I will secure it in and make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So conformal coating will be just around the edge where I'll put that jumper wire, just to act as an anchor point, just to hold it down in place. But I'll do that at the end of the repair, just to clean it all up and make it look good. It's not absolutely required, it's a ground point, it's not going to short out on anything important apart from another ground point, so it's not actually required, but I still like to do it anyway. Let's just dry this off and then I can give it an inspection. Beautiful. So yeah, it doesn't look great, it's not going to look the best, but at least it's anchored down and secured. And at least we've now got another antenna on there, so we're not going to have a problem there. Alright, next. So next I'm going to need the replacement module, so it's going to be the donor board module. Like I said, I could probably try and fix that one, but then I've got to reball it, I've got to run jumper wires, get a ball sitting nice and even. It's just a pain in the backside. you know, it's going to be fairly difficult to actually fix that. So I could just keep that for spares and use the chip off it in the future. But I'm going to remove this one from the donor board next. Okay, there we go. So there is the replacement. So again, like I said, this has been taken from a PS4 Pro, but it is a matching chip or a matching module. So it should be absolutely fine as long as this module works. But there's only one way to find that out, and that is to reboard it. So as you can probably imagine, we cannot get a stencil for these, and even if we could, I suck with stencils. So I'm going to be doing this by hand, making a mess all over my desk, but never mind, it's fine. So I'm going to mix this with some leaded solder. And then again, I'm going to wick it away to clean off the pads. Okay, so that's clean. Well, sort of. I just need to clean up the actual IC and get rid of the flux off it. Okay, and that is perfect. So just clean that off completely, dry it off with my fingers. Shouldn't do this because IPA is bad for you, but never mind. So like I said, the next task is going to be to reball this. So what that means is I've got to take some solder balls and I've got to place a solder ball on each of these 55 pads. And by doing that, it's going to allow me to have a nice even amount of solder on each pad, and it's going to make sure that every single pad makes a good contact on the board, and it should fix the issues that we're facing. But it is no wonder we wasn't getting any kind of connection on the controllers. And this is what I mean by it doesn't use the Wi-Fi IC during safe mode. It completely bypasses it. I'm going to add some solder balls. That should be enough, but we can always add more if we need to. And all I'm going to do is literally just place one solder ball on each pad. It's nice and straightforward. It does take a little bit of practice sometimes, but it is generally nice and straightforward. Not too bad overall to do. So I'll fast forward through this, but this is literally all I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking a solder ball, and I'm going to place that solder ball onto a pad, and then when it's ready for the next stage, I'll be reflowing the solder balls and flowing them down onto the chip. That appears the wrong size to me. It seems to be a little bit bigger than the rest of them, so I'll just get rid of that one. It didn't quite look right. And obviously we want these all even sizes. Okay, there we go. So that is, well, it's not reballed, but the foundation is there for it to be reballed. So as you can see there, we've got a ball on every pad. Let's just turn this round. I want to get rid of these excess balls. Then I'm just going to frame that up. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my hot air at 440 degrees Celsius at 1% airflow. 1% airflow, so that's the lowest setting I can go to on my hot air in terms of airflow per second or airflow per minute. And I'm just going to flow this down from a distance, so you can see I'm fairly far away here, probably about 4 to 5 inches away from the actual module. I'm just going to flow all of these down. You're going to see them move in a minute, and they should all start to center themselves as it starts to get a little bit hotter, and as the solder balls start to flow, they should center themselves, and then you should see them all just splurge out across the pad. So they look small, they look too small for the pads, but they're not. They're 0.76 millimeters, which is the biggest size I've got, and yeah, they are absolutely fine to use. As long as you've got an even amount of solder on each one, which we're going to have, then they're fine to use. So I'm just going to start to flow this around. And some of these are starting to change colour, which is normal. Okay, there we go, starting to pop. Just like popcorn, look. Boom. Down here. One up in the corner, there we go, beautiful. Okay, so that is that part done, but it's not completely done. We do still need to reflow this once, just because we didn't use enough flux. You might have noticed that I've spread a tiny amount of flux around the module, and that's because we don't want too much, because we don't want it to flood all over the place and start washing the balls all over the IC before they've flowed down. But now that they've flowed down, I can get away with putting a lot more flux on and actually get some nice shiny, even round balls. So again, I'm just going to flow, but I'm going to go to 20% airflow now. And you're going to see all these go nice and shiny. And nice and round. Here we go. Perfect. Beautiful. So I'm going to let that cool down. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring the board back into place. And you can't really get this wrong, to be honest. So, you know how we've got a ball missing? Well, all you need to do is just line that up with the chip. So when I flip this around now, that's going to line up where the board is missing. And it's going to be good to go. I am going to add a little bit of flux here though. And just spread that around evenly. There's flux on the chip, but we also want flux on the board as well. So spread that round and it'll spread itself properly in a little while. Let's just flip that over. And there's a little trick to getting BGA chips in the right place. If you get it roughly in the right place, like this, so you've got some guides here which you can use. If you get it roughly in place, this one's still fairly hot, so I'm gonna wait for a second. But you get it roughly in place, and then if you press down on the chip, you should feel it lock in to the BGA on the board. And it shouldn't move. If that's even slightly out of position, like that for example, or just a tiny bit out of position, if you wiggle it now, you can see it moving, and in a second it's going to lock in, and it's not going to move when I wiggle it. My fingers are stuck to it, so I'm going to press down on the chip with some tweezers, pull my hand away, there we go. There, everyone knows my fingerprints. Don't set me up for murder, please. And there we go. So I'm going to flow this down now. So I'm going to use 20% airflow at 440 degrees Celsius. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press down on the chip slightly with my tweezers. Not putting any pressure there, just want to hold it in place for a minute. Preferably without burning my fingers. So just until the flux melts, that's all I wanted to do. Just to stop it from floating. That is minutely out of line there, so it should put itself in. It's absolutely fine, that's nowhere near the size of one ball, so it will put itself dead straight. Surface tension is your best friend when it comes to BGA. There we go, did you see that? I didn't touch it. So if I nudge this chip, yep, there we go. It comes back into line. Surface tension kicks in, and we are done. Absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to scrub that with IPA. There we go. And then we're going to flip it around. We're going to clean off this old thermal pasta. Lovely thermal pasta. Okie dokie, there we go. And I'm just going to give this a quick how's your father? There we go. kiss it and caress it and make it look beautiful. Okay, and I'm going to put some fresh thermal pasta on. Something that CEX didn't appear to do. There we go. And judging by the fan, it does look like this has been serviced fairly recently. There's no dust inside the fan, so I'm going to say that there's probably not going to be much, but I'm not going to worry about that for now anyway. I will service it off camera, I always do, but I'm not going to worry about that too much at the minute because I just want to test and see if it works. I mean, if I can't get it working, there's no point servicing it further. I mean, I can put the fresh thermal paste on, but there's no point in taking any of the plates off to service it if it's going to be a case that it's not going to be fixed, because it's not going to be usable, and whoever works on it would have to take the board out. I'm going to say that it probably is going to work. Nothing metal underneath it. Ow. There's a fan there, Phil. Okay, I'm just going to give my capture card cable a clean. It's a bit... Oh, I've got no hard drive in, damn it. I guess I'm not. I need to connect up the hard drive before I go any further. That might be a little bit of a help. Alright, let's go to the capture card. Okay, we get a white light. And yep, because the hard drive wasn't plugged in, it's coming up can't start the PS4, which is fine. So I'm just going to plug in the cable again in the same port. And we're going to cancel that. That's going to turn itself off, and then I'm going to press the power button again to turn it back on. And we've still got controller sync in safe mode. That's turned off. Turn it back on. And let's let that boot up. Unplug that cable just so we can see what happens when we plug it in. And let's let it boot up. Just waiting for the display to initialize, which it should be any minute now. There we go. Perfect. So that's going to check the system storage and then it's going to reboot. Okay, and we should be seeing the PlayStation logo any second now. Come on. Come on, I've been nice to you. There we go. See, you just got to give it some loving. That should... I think it auto logged in, it did last time. Can't connect the network, fine. Don't really care. Let's see what happens. Orange light. Whoops, there's a fan there. Orange light. Yes, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. We have the blue light. And that is staying synchronized. Let's make sure we can connect to the internet. Obviously it can't connect to the internet because it's not got my Wi-Fi details. There we go. Yes, I know you can see my password. It's fine. I don't really care if people have my Wi-Fi password. Okay, internet settings updated. Let's test that. It's not going to be able to sign into the network, or PlayStation network rather. It wants us to update the software, which is not my job. And I keep telling people this, it's not my job to update the software unless I'm being paid to do so. Because PS4s do end up exploitable at some point. And yeah, I'm not going to update the software just in case they want to keep it for a later revision. So that's working. Let's just test a couple more things, make sure everything's working as it should. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some conformal coating on this, on that anchor point, and make sure it's good. And then we'll be good to go. So basically what I want to do is just make sure that all of the basic functionality works. So for example the Ethernet, then we've got network, user LAN cable. This Ethernet cable is dodgy, so it might say it's not connected and I might have to hold it in. Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe not this time. There we go, boom, 356 megabits per second. Which is about the upper limit of these. Actually, let's just check the sound and screen. We are on automatic, so that's in 1080p. Fantastic. Pop in a disc, make sure that works. FIFA 16 going in. Come on. Boom. There we go. Okay, it's picking up the disk drive, but does it allow me to load into the disk? That's the question. Boom, there we go. That's working absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's make sure it ejects the disk and then we're done. It does. Fantastic. Everything is working as it should. And this console is done. So while I'm waiting for that to shut down fully, I do need to do a couple more things. Well, one more thing on camera. So the one more thing I need to do on camera, just to show you that I'm actually going to do it and not just saying it, even though it is absolutely unnecessary. It's just a bit overkill, but I'd rather do it anyway, just to do a complete job. But what I'm going to do is just put a bit of conformal coating on the anchor point here. So obviously like that, it doesn't look fantastic, does it really? So what I want to do is just put a little bit of conformal coating / solder mask on the anchor point. The part number to this is UVH900. You can buy it from eBay. It's around about £4 a tube, and one tube is going to last you forever. Honestly, I've had this tube for 2 years. It's still almost full, and I use it daily. So we've got some there covering that, and you might think that was meant to be a cap there, but there's not. So there is actually an unpopulated test point, so I'm just going to cover that up just for the head of it, because I'm in that area with the UV light anyway. And exactly that, this is going to be UV curable mask, so that means I need to use a UV light to cure it, and I actually use a UV laser. And the UV laser I use, I just type it on eBay 405nm, so 405 nanometer UV laser. It's not actually UV, the UV spectrum is just below that, but I find that it cures a lot better with the 405 nanometer wavelength. So that might seem like gobbledygook nonsense, but honestly it's not. It does cure better with the 405 nanometer. So I'm just going to hold the light over for 30 seconds or so. Okay, now I'm going to use a little bit of heat assistance to fully harden it. This isn't required, I could just keep holding it over, but just a little bit of heat and it's going to go rock solid. So not too much heat where we're going to end up melting the housing or anything like that. We just want to make sure that it cures. And we should be good to go on that one. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a nudge here. Yep. A little bit breaks off there, but it's fine. More than enough covering that, and that job is done. Beautiful. Right, there we go. So I've still got to put this back together, obviously, but yeah, as you can see, the issue on this wasn't a blue light of death. It wasn't anything to do with the blue light of death. By the look of it, it was drop damage, and what seems to have happened, the Wi-Fi module has become damaged. That probably did cause a temporary blue light of death, maybe. But when I got it, it wasn't powering on at all, and the reason for that is because CEX, and it has to have been CEX, they have plugged the ribbon in wrong, so I couldn't turn it on. Managed to power it on with a disk drive, which told me that it was working, but it wasn't connecting to controllers. Obviously, they just put that wrong, so we managed to fix up that no power issue pretty much straight away. And then obviously determined by going into safe mode that the issue was down to the Wi-Fi IC, or it was most likely going to be down to the Wi-Fi IC based on the symptoms that it was connecting in safe mode to controllers, wasn't connecting to the dashboard. And the reason for that was because the Wi-Fi IC had some damaged traces, so it couldn't make full contact. But it's working now by replacing that Wi-Fi module and also by repairing the antenna as well. This is working absolutely fine, and it should work for a long time to come as well. So that's going to be for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Do you think CEX done that thing with the ribbon? Do you think they did the Wi-Fi antenna? I don't think they did the Wi-Fi antenna. I think that was down to the impact. But let me know what you think, because it is interesting to see what people think in the comments. I'm not going to blame them for something that I don't believe they've done. But in the sense of the ribbon, that has to have been them. It has to have been them. So yeah, the sticker matched. Now obviously I didn't go down to fibres, but I'm going to say that sticker was the same stickers that they use for the printouts on the bag. So yeah, it sounds like they did it to me, although it looked like they did it to me. But by no harm, no foul. That wasn't a massive issue. That's just a little bit of an oversight by one of the CEX technicians, obviously. The antenna managed to fix it. The Wi-Fi module managed to fix it. Everything on my test sheet, what I use, has confirmed working. I will continue to monitor it. I've got it for another day before they go back to Console Repair London, where they go back to the customer from there. But yeah, it shouldn't have another issue with this. It should be absolutely fine, and I'm more than happy to call this job done. So let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, if you do have any comments or questions, let me know down below. If you do want to organise a repair, you can do so by getting in touch using the website in the video description. There's a link to the website there where you can book it in, or you can get in touch using the contact page if you've got any questions about your repair. I've also got a Discord server, so if you want to head over to Discord if you want some self-help, then please don't email me with self-help because I will just delete it. My inboxes get full enough. But if you want some self-help, go to Discord or ask in the comments down on the video comment section. That is the proper channel to get self-help. I don't mind helping, but you've got better chance of getting help on Discord as well because there's nearly enough 1,000 members on there, and a lot of them are very experienced technicians where we all just sit and discuss different things. But yeah, if you want to get some self-help, head over to Discord. And if you want to support me, there's a Patreon link in the video description. You can also become a Twitch Prime subscriber by heading over to Twitch in the video description as well, and linking your Amazon Prime account and then subscribing to my channel. It does massively help me out. You can become a channel member on YouTube as well by clicking join just below the video. Conveniently located right next to the subscribe button, so you can press them both at the same time if you really wanted to. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.